We want to, before we open this to conversation with you, and we are about to do that, we want to just show you briefly, sort of demonstrate to you how thoughts do turn to things, or in a more expanded way of saying it, how the vibration that is the source within you, in your vortex, how does that accomplishment, how does that expansion, how does that knowledge, how does that fabulous vibrational creation, how does that become a vibrational reality in your experience, where you can devour it through all of your physical senses, where others can then observe the power of your creation? How do you demonstrate how the energy that creates worlds has flowed through you? How do you demonstrate what your tapestry is, what your ideas are, what you have carved out, what you have uniquely created? How do you turn those ideas to the manifested version? Here's how. The vibration exists, and the first, let's call it a manifestation, or even better, let's call it a realization of it, is a thought. That's what's happening here with Esther right now. We are offering a vibration, and she is realizing it. We're offering a vibration. We are consciousness, powerfully focused, and focused about you specifically here in this room. We're offering a vibration about that, and Esther is receiving the vibration because she is in vibrational sync with that which we are. So the thoughts are occurring to her. That's a manifestation. And the emotion that reflects that blending is present too. So that's the first step in the vibration turning to a thing, let's say. But then there is the impulses that occur to you. There is the rendezvous with this one and this one and this one. There is the idea. There is the then inspired action. There is the harmonic components. There is the harmonic convergence. There is all of that delicious life experience that happens between the idea. You said, I got a great idea. And we say, you received a great idea. You were in vibrational sync and you received a great idea. Hold yourself in that vibrational frequency and watch the further evolution of that great idea into manifestations of mastery, you see. Or be like most humans, somewhere between the idea and the manifestation of it, focus on the condition instead of the unconditioned, and in the absence of the fullness of that which you want, introduce resistance in it and keep it from happening. You see? You got that, didn't you? You understand the unconditional creation. And now that you understand unconditioned, that means you understand that it's all about the way you feel. It's all about doing something deliberately about controlling your point of attraction. But we want to use a different word than point of attraction. We want to use the word point of reception, because the revelation is happening constantly. The only question is, are you realizing it? Are you in the vibrational frequency where you're getting it? How often do your little children get it? Because they're clear, they're pure, they're all wadded up in belief. You work hard to get them to get wadded up in belief, you do. You're too frivolous, little child. You think that the universe revolves around you, you foolish, foolish child, you say to them, when they know that it really, really does. You think that life is supposed to be simple and easy for you. They know it, but you're going to get them. In most cases, children will reflect the beliefs of their parents, and then you'll come and see us years later. And we will help you forget all the stuff they taught you that isn't good for you. We will help you to remember that you are the creator of your own reality, that you are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe, and that you've got all that is on your side, and that you are never alone, and that whatever it is that you are wanting can be your experience. But you've got to find the frequency of it and practice it until it becomes dominant within you. You can't mess around with this. You can't use words that you don't mean, because the universe does not respond to what you're saying. The universe responds to what you mean. And what you mean is how you feel. So if you're discouraged, that's your point of attraction. If you're ornery, that's your point of attraction. If you're mad at somebody, that's your point of attraction. If you're joyful, that's your point of attraction. In other words, this is very simple. And then you want to say, but wait, you need more information, Abraham. I'm sure that if I explained to you why I am so mad, that you would be mad too. And we want to say, doesn't that give you the evidence above all evidence to the existence of the source within you? The very fact that you can experience negative emotion is your proof that there is a relationship between you and something. In other words, because if your inner being would come over there and be mad with you about the thing that you are angry about, you're right, there would be no separation. But it doesn't work that way, because your source will never join you in that negative focus. So we think you got that. That's a really good thing. Got to be somewhere in the vibrational vicinity of it before you can do that. Good for you. So now, what do you want to talk about? Where should we go with this understanding of deliberate creation? What do you want to talk about?
So my question has to do with negative emotional stuff, energy. Guidance. It's one thing for me, I get cut off in traffic, or somebody I know does something that makes me, that kind of stuff is not that difficult to handle, to get into a better.
Because it doesn't challenge a strong desire. Someone called you on the telephone and said, hello, you don't know me. I'm just calling to tell you I'll never call you again. You'd say, alrighty then.
Yeah. But I have this experience where, and it's oftentimes in the morning, where it's like I wake up into this heavy, dark, negative, discouraging.
You do. You wake up into the vibration that you left there. In other words, it's sort of culmination of how you feel. And when you wake up and come back into it, it's always a shock because you had a respite from it. So it's particularly annoying when you greet it again.
Yeah, very annoying. I just have the hardest time sometimes with that, trying to start to shift that dial or whatever, because it's all this stuff from childhood. It's like, well, and it just seems so heavy and so real, so dense.
Well, everything we've been talking about today is about how to soften that for yourself. We have some questions for you. Do you acknowledge that negative emotion is guidance?
Yes.
And the reason that it is because part of you doesn't feel that way and part of you does. And that discord is about that discord.
Yes.
So does it then follow that since it's such strong, dense, hard feeling stuff, that there really is a strong difference of opinion between what you've been assuming and what really is?
Yes.
That does follow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if you could, in the early stages of recognizing that you're starting to go there, if you could say to yourself, my inner being isn't in agreement with me, I wonder what my inner being is thinking about this. Or if you could go to bed with the intention of, when you get up, starting on subjects that are easier. One time someone said to us, Abraham, it doesn't feel to me like I'm thinking my own thoughts. It feels like my thoughts are thinking me. And what he meant was, there's this momentum, as you just said, that it's hard to overcome it. But it isn't hard to overcome it. It's just a train can't be going 80 miles an hour that way and all of a sudden go 80 miles an hour that way. It would be bad for the contents of the train. So it's a matter of sort of slowing it down and then getting it going. And so it could be very helpful if, when you go to bed at night, you could try to ponder a little bit, activate within yourself the best thing that happened that day, or the best thing that's happened this week, or something that felt better. In other words, start the momentum, and then in the morning find something that feels better. In other words, we know, because we can feel you and we know what's in your vortex, we know it's not all dark, and we think you're holding yourself to very strict standards. Esther does that too. When something is out of whack with her, she feels as bad as if she'd killed someone. In other words, you don't take negative emotion very well when you want to be in alignment.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we're encouraging you to do is stop beating up on yourself. And next, don't emphasize the parts that are troubling. Instead, emphasize the parts that are less troubling. And don't try to take such big leaps. Don't beat up on yourself that you're not waking up feeling exhilaration. Exhilaration is going to come once momentum has been allowed for a while. So when you first wake up, what do? Do you set an alarm?
Yes.
Do you wake up to an alarm?
Most of the time.
So the alarm is sort of interrupting. It's interrupting something that is more peaceful. Esther has been wearing a Fitbit because she's enjoying keeping track of how many steps she is taking. And her Fitbit tells her how many steps she is taking, and 10,000 is so easy to do. But it also registers her heart rate. And she noticed that when she would wake up to an alarm, her heart rate would go through the roof. It was like her alarm was scaring her awake. Her resting heart rate's around 60. And even after she's been on the treadmill for a while, it's 72 or 75. And if she really ramps it up, she can get it up deliberately. But to wake up to 102 heart rate means you've been startled into reality. And that's what sort of happens to you sometimes, is that you're in this vibrational place where the momentum has stopped, and then you sort of get startled into reality, where immediately you start focusing right away on those things that are less than aligning in nature. So when you wake up to your alarm, do you wake up to your alarm because you have things that you want to tend to and you don't want to oversleep?
Yeah.
And so after you wake up, is it necessary that you immediately get out of bed?
Not always.
So we would encourage you to set your alarm for 20 minutes before you actually need to get out of bed, and call that your luxurious basking yourself back into reality time. In other words, doing yourself the favor. Can you do that without upsetting anybody else around?
Yeah.
So then when you set your alarm the night before, say to yourself, I'm looking forward to awakening and settling in to a better feeling day. And then when you wake up, say to yourself, I don't have to get up. I can just stay right here. I can just stay right here and feel the comfort of my bed. And then focus on the comfort of your bed, providing yourself with that little window of luxury. It's like a gift to yourself of just re-emerging back in. It's not different. When you wake up in the morning, it's not different than being born into this physical body, except you know more. And most of it is not to your advantage. And so as you deliberately allow yourself to just bask a little bit, and you do this every morning for a while, you're going to discover that in that quiet time, other thoughts are going to occur to you. It will be like extending the slowed momentum for a longer period of time so that you get to set the tone of this day. It will be powerful for you.
It's more gradual. I have one more question that relates to that.
Are you going to do that?
Yes, I will.
Are you going to do that?
Yes.
Everybody ought to do that if you're really looking to set the tone the way you want to. If you're waking up just happy to be in this day, and you can hardly wait for your feet to hit the floor because there's so much momentum that you've already got going, then this process isn't necessary for you. But if anything less than feeling great when you wake up is what you're experiencing, then give yourself the opportunity to set your own tone, because first thing in the morning is the best probability of doing it.